Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division 2 Divisional overview. And today we're taking a look at the 1st Skijager Division, a German light infantry division with some janky captured Russian equipment. Because who doesn't love using janky Russian captured equipment? I certainly do, it's a lot of fun. So, in terms of actual setup, they are a B tier division. They're technically mechanized, but that's a bit of a lie. They're really more on the infantry side of things. You don't really have that much in terms of like fighting transports or light vehicles. You're really an infantry division, to be entirely honest. But in terms of slots, you got lots of recon, infantry, artillery, and airplanes. And everything else is pretty standard, a bit lackluster in the anti-air department. So let's jump into the recon tab. So you got bike recon. Bike recons are always pretty pants. Never get bike recon. Just due to the fact you can't really hide it and it dies really easily because this is two guys on a bike. Pretty easy target to shoot, to be entirely honest. And then you got the ski recon infantry. Now all the ski infantry in this division do come with a baseline of 1-star veterancy. Which is, well, it makes sense because this is a more highly trained division, of course. But it does kind of suck because it doesn't really give you the option to do full-on infantry spam if you want. You're a little bit limited in your playstyle. But you do have some rather nice rapid loadouts in your ski units. Ski Spar Troops, for example, have 2 STGs and 2 G43s. Pretty good medium-range squads. They're only 4-man, but that's honestly not that bad for rapid loadout. You also have Sniper Squads, pretty standard Sniper Squad stuff. You have Fusilier Squads, which have a lot of SMGs and G43s and anti-tank grenades, and a machine gun, of course. Pretty decent fighting squad. And then you got Ski Stern Fusiliers, which is 10 STGs. You can't really go wrong with 10 STGs, to be entirely honest. That's a pretty powerful squad. In terms of transport, I guess the reason they call it mechanized is you got a few half tracks, but only 9 of these 250 dash runs, or slash runs, I should say. Apart from that, everything else is pretty standard. Got a lot of oval blitzers, which is nice, as they're some of the best transport trucks in game. And yeah, you got some swim wagons. Nothing really all that crazy in terms of transports, apart from the half tracks. Infantry, you got not a huge selection, because it's all just ski infantry. No RSADS troop and whatnot to be found, but they're pretty good units. So you got Feldgender Army. I don't know where I really need to use them, especially considering you don't have RSADS trooping, so they're really quite pointless. You got Skijagers, which is going to be the backbone of your main infantry, I should really say, as you can actually get these guys unvetted, so not all of them are limited in the veterancy option, so I do take that back. But these are pretty much like a standard Grenadier squad, but they do have a Panzerfaust, which is nice. One SMG, one machine gun. Nothing really all that crazy, but the nice thing is you can get a decent amount of them. So yeah, this is, if you need to spam infantry in late game, this is what you're going to be using. Just look at how many of the guys that you can get. Also, Skijager Pioneers, which I'm honestly a bit iffy on. I don't really like these units all that much. They have a rather interesting weapon loadout of 7 SMGs and 1 machine gun. But I usually find, on the defense it's not bad, because you just shoot stuff at long range in a building with your MG42. But when attacking, I usually find you want to turn off the machine gun and just use the SMGs and the grenades to, especially your fight over forest. You don't want to just be sitting there at like 110 meters only using your machine gun when you have 7 SMGs and a grenade that you can bring online to decimate the enemy infantry squad. Once again, these guys can actually be brought up unvetted. I believe there's the only 2 ski units that can actually be brought up in an unvetted manner. So these are going to be the 2 guys that you want to be spamming most of the time if you want to a bit more of a spammy infantry division loadout. You also have Ski Pioneer Furies, which are really cool because they got a sniper rifle and it's a 9-man squad. The sniper rifle is definitely cool, as it allows you to give some fire support at long range from a safe distance, preferably in a church tower, and it's a 9-man squad, so they're rather beefy, and they have a decent weapon load. They got a nice amount of SMGs and whatnot, which is cool. But yeah, also a lot of the infantry are a little bit lower in terms of numbers compared to Grenadier squads. so you're not as beefy compared to other German infantry squads. You also got Skijager, which is the one you can get the most of, is you can get 3 cards of them, and you're limited in the veterancy with them with only 1 and 2 star vetted units. They're not as good as Sturmschützen, as it's only 9 STGs compared to 13, but 9 STGs is still 9 STGs. That's not all that bad. You only got anti-tank grenades and not Panzerfaust, unfortunately. But they're pretty good. You can get a decent amount of them card rise, which is cool. Yeah, I mean, it's an STG squad. And you got Skijager Führer, which is a 12-man squad, which is more of a beefy grenadier squad with 3 MP40s this time. And in terms of transports, once again, it's really nothing really too crazy. You can get some 2-5 runs, which is nice, but not a lot of them. Really only enough to maybe... I usually use them for leader units, but usually enough to, you know, maybe get like an A-phase card for your Skijagers, for example, if you want something a bit more mechanized for your transport troops. But yeah, it's not a huge variety of infantry. It's pretty easy to make your mind up on which ones you want to be taken. They're good infantry overall, to be entirely honest, but nothing crazy. You're definitely limited in spam potential. Yes, you can spam Skijager and some, or Skijager Pioneers, I should really say, if you take the unvetted runs, but it's only a few cards worth. But yeah, they're pretty good infantry. Tanks is where it gets a bit more interesting, as we got a lot of captured stuff. You got T-34 command tanks, you got a card of T-34 42 captured tanks, you have a card of Stugs and a Stug 3G Führer, but more importantly, what's really interesting is a captured card of T-3485s. You can only bring them up in A-phase, and I'd recommend taking the unvetted runs with the 4 availability. But T-3485s against Russians, it's pretty nice. You have a good amount of armor, so, you know, lighter guns such as Sherman guns, T-34-76 guns, for example, are gonna have a rather hard time penetrating your thick hide. And it's also nice using, you know, it's always fun to use captured equipment against guys that you're fighting against, kind of the whole Counter-Strike analogy of, you know, playing CTs and using an AK-47. It's just much better. And also have a pretty good shell loadout. You actually have 25 AP cells compared to the regular, like, 10 to 14 AP cells you get with T-34, 43s, or 44s, for example. And I believe this is a 1943 model T-34-45, as you don't have any APCR shells. Yeah, you don't get a lot in tank slots, unfortunately. It's definitely rather limited, but you got some nice tanks. The Stugs and T-34-45s are really your major players when it comes to the anti-tank department. Well, not a lot of options either. You got some MG42 teams, and you can also get card of grills if you want. Regular Opel Blitzes, and full commands, you got commandants, bike command, as well as a half-track command thing. What's really cool, though, what's awesome, what's amazing, is a KV2. Is a KV2 in this game. It's only for the Germans. Because, you know, by this time the Russians aren't going to be using this monstrosity of a tank. You can only get 2 of them. Never take the vetted run. It's silly. Always take the unvetted card. But by God, this thing is a raw derp gun. And it's a pretty damn good derp gun. Even though it says it's only got 30% accuracy, I swear it hits a little bit more than 30%. As it's pretty damn good knocking out the tanks. You got 8 AP cells compared to like 6 AP cells that you get with an ISU 152. Decent armor, 110 mil, and high penetration, 160 millimeters of penetration potential, and 12 damage. Meaning that whatever you hit with this tank, when you get a penetration hit, the tank will die. As with 12 damage, it's just an insta-kill. You do enough damage to blow up pretty much any tank in game with one good hit. Just makes this a real deadly unit once you get it online. The major issue, however, is it's really slow. 25 kilometers on the road. It usually takes, from the start of the match, 3 minutes or so to get to the front line. So, you're gonna have to wait around for this lard ass to get up to help you out, essentially. But once it's in a good position, preferably on a hill, it just kills everything. It's really bloody good. It's very bloody good. Especially for an A-phase unit as well. Yeah, the KV-2 is definitely a rather vehicle to take. You should always be taking the KV-2 in this division, as it's the real main powerhouse in A phase for your ground game advantage. Anti-tank, you got some interesting options. The real interesting thing I like a lot is this Jagdpanzer Gazelle. It's essentially a half-track with a captured Russian 45mm on top. It's nothing spectacular, only does 75mm AP, it's not all that fast. It's just a decent speed, but you gotta realize it's a 20-point anti-tank gun, and you can get it has a good veterancy curve. You can get 5 1-star or 4 2-star veterancy. So it's a very, very, very cheap anti-tank gun that you can just kind of throw around everywhere to hold less important sides. Of course, you only want to be using these things defensively. You have no HE shells, so you can't give infantry fire support. You pretty much just want to slap it in a medium density forest, preferably in a good ambush position where it can get some close range shots, and it'll shoot anything that comes in close. You gotta realize, you pretty much just kill the majority of vehicles in this game, and you've already paid yourself off with the Jagdpanzer Gazelle. It's a very nice unit to have. It's definitely rather underrated. A lot of people think it's pants, but I think it's definitely a rather unit to take. And you got quite a few anti-tank slots, so you can really afford to get something a little bit more niche. Pack 36s, only got 2-star veterancy, but you get 6 of them with 2-star, and 9 of them in B phase with 2-star veterancy. I like 2-star Pack 36s a lot. They're really bloody good. They don't penetrate stuff all that effectively. I mean, it says 180mm penetration here, but actually with the close range rocket shells. I think it's like a rocket thing they put on the front of the Pack 38. The Rackington, I can't say it. Rackington thing. I'll probably just throw it on the screen right now. But yeah, they only do 65mm penetration at longer range, and you're not the most accurate either. But you just keep hitting stuff, and eventually you get a lot of non-penetrating critical hits as a shite damage, tracks, all of that. You may not be able to kill things with a Pack 36, especially at longer ranges, but you can definitely annoy them enough and just put them out of action for a little bit. And that's the nice thing about them. They're cheap. 2-star veterancy means they shoot insanely fast. It already has a baseline of 15 rounds a minute. So with 2-star, they just it's like a machine gun. It's really quite nice. You got Panzerschrecks. Yeah, the Panzerschrecks. You got Skijager RSO. It's a rather interesting unit, so to speak. It's a very cheap Pack 40 essentially. It's almost half the price of a regular Pack 40. It's alright. It's once again like a Jagdpanzer Gazelle. You want to be using it purely on the defensive, but this thing is really slow at 30 kilometers on the road. A little bit faster than the KV-2 at least, but still, it's nothing really to write home about. It takes a long time to get it into position. And also, well, the real problem with the Skijager RSO is that you can just get a Marder run. And the Marder run is pretty much better in every raid for 10 points more. It's faster. It actually has armor, where the Skijager has 0 armor whatsoever, so machine guns can kill this thing, which is not preferable in the slightest. And also the Marder run has APCR cells, and 8 of them, so... And you can also get them in the same amount. You got 8 unvetted B phase of Marders, 8 unvetted RSOs in B phase. So I honestly recommend taking the Marders over the RSOs pretty much any day of the week, just due to that fact. And then you got Pack 40s. The Pack 40s. You can't really go wrong with Pack 40s. They're pretty nice anti-tank guns. And also just remember, when you're getting transports, if I bring out the Pack 40, always bring them up with the open blitz. Try to avoid taking RSO in any reasonable circumstances. It is extremely bloody slow. You don't want to be, driving this thing around most of the time if you can avoid it. Anti-air is very limited. You got a card of 20mm on the back of a truck, and then you got 37mm on the back of a truck. The 20mm, you do get a decent amount of them, so you can cover them along the map pretty nice. The 7/2s don't have the greatest amount of availability, to be entirely honest, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, they're good anti-aircraft guns though, because it is a 37mm. But your anti-air game is pretty weak with Skijager's. Artillery is honestly pretty decent with this division. You got artillery spotters, you got battery furies, you got 2 cards of neighbor Earthers, which are pretty nice. Neighbor Earthers are alright. They're no longer as amazing as they were in SD44, for example, but they're still pretty good at stressing out areas, and they're not really that great for killing, I find. They're alright in the counter battery role, but they're alright. They're not amazing, but they're always nice to have rocket artillery. You got some 80mm mortars as well as 120mm mortars. As you see, they have been nerfed a bit with the price nerfs. In terms of mainline artillery, you got LEF 105s and SF8 150mm with corrected shot bonuses. So, once you find these are 2 artillery pieces you're going to be using more often than not, especially compared to now that 120mm are nerfed. This thing does have corrected shot, which is a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal to have, and you got a good amount of them in terms of the availability game. You have the heavier trucks here, or heavy artillery guns. You can take them with the heavier trucks. There's also the new, this is actually completely brand new, that you can get these 15-point supply transport trucks. They only have 5,000 supply, but they stay on the field and they can resupply your artillery guns, while also being able to relocate them, which is pretty nice. You only get 8 of them, and they do cost 15 points, but it's pretty good for 5,000 supply, to be entirely honest. I haven't really experimented using them all too much. They're pretty cool, but not exactly mandatory, I would argue. And honestly, they do make them a little bit more expensive, the artillery guns. But yeah, at the same time, you're probably going to end up having to spend money on getting a supply truck anyway, so it really does even out. There's also the off-map artillery plane. I like this thing a lot, as you can get 2 of them in A phase, which is really cool, and also acts as a radio spotter. So you could fly. So you can use this to counter battery enemy artillery to great effect if you manage to fly over the enemy lines and get into range where you can get a corrected shot on an enemy artillery park. But it only drops 172 mils. Nothing really all that crazy, but still, it's good enough to pepper an area for a bit. And then the airplanes, you got some decent options. Nothing really all that great, honestly. You got some DO-217 strafing planes, always nice to have. Strafing planes are pretty good. You got Stuka bombers with a light payload, only one 250 kilogram bomb. You got DO-217 bombers with it's a light payload, but you got 850 kilograms, so it's a small carpet bomber essentially. Most important plane here is a cluster bomber. Always take your Ju-87 cluster bomber. It's also actually pretty decent to get in A phases, to get 3 of them. And only 4 in B and 6 in C. Once again, you always want to take these guys pretty much unvetted, as you just want the. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that with cluster bombers, the veteran sheet doesn't really matter in terms of accuracy. It's pretty hard to miss with cluster bombs, so you really just want the availability on them, especially considering that you don't have. You have decent anti-tank options, but if you fight against IS-2s, you're gonna be happy you had Ju-87 cluster bombers. In terms of fighters, you got Messerschmitt G6s and G6s with cannon pods. Pretty standard, not as good as Focke-Wulfs, I'd argue. But, they're alright fighters, they're not bad. And then you got HE-111s, run with a carpet bomber, bomb load, and run with 2 big 1,000 kilogram FU bombs if you really just want to nuke an area out of existence. And for defense, pretty standard stuff. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots, barbed wire, you got gun pits, you got trenches, you got 4 cards of bunkers, 4 cards of 37mm bunkers, and 2 cards of 50mm bunkers, so pretty good defensive loadout overall. So that's really the unit composition of this division, so well, let's just take a look at a deck that I have built earlier. And here we are, and this is my first Skijager Division deck. Once again, the deck code is in the description below if you want to copy this deck for yourself. But nonetheless, let's take a look at the composition. So I have took a Maverick deployment type. I'd highly recommend this division. You either only take Vanguard or Maverick. That's really all your good units come in A and B phase, so you really just want to make the most of that with high income in those phases, of course. So for Recon, we take 1 card of Ski Spar troops and 1 card of Ski Fusiliers. And then B phase, we take 2 self-vetted Cyprus team and 2 self-vetted Sturm Fusiliers. Usually enough Recon to get you through most of the match. And they're pretty good Recon units, especially the Sturm Fusiliers. They can pretty much eat through anything, which is pretty cool. Infantry options, I mainly take Skijagers and Sturm Skis. I don't like Skijager Pioneers. They're just a little bit weak with only 8-man squad, and you just have to do a bit of micro. We have the MG42s, and frankly, why do you need? I don't really find you need SMG squads when you have STG squads, as STGs are really better than SMG squads in most situations. Just that extra 200-meter range is especially big. As a problem with SMG squads is that in heavy forest they work pretty well, because once you spot an enemy unit in a heavy forest, you're usually within 100 meters, and you go to town, hit fire in array like you're on Red Orchestra 2. But you're not always fighting a heavy forest. You're fighting in towns, there's usually a good chance you're going to have to engage something past 100 meters. Or in light forest, you're going to be engaging stuff at like 150, 200 meters, depending. You definitely want that extra range, and even at close range at 100 meters, STGs are still pretty damn good. But I mainly take most things with 1-star baseline veterancy. I find the veterancy does help out quite a bit. I don't really take much 2-star regular infantry, as it kind of hampers the availability I can get by quite a bit. But I do take 2-star vetted leaders, as I do like the larger aura that they give. And also I take the leaders in the half-tracks most of the time. Not my Skijager Furies, rather. Just the Skijager Pioneers early on as a half-track provides good fire support in A-phase. Tanks, T-34, 42s in A-phase, as well as 85s in A-phase as well. They're going to be on A-phase tanks, and B-phase, we take the Command T-34s, and then 1 self-vetted Stug 3Gs. I'd always say you want to fill up all your tank slots with this division every single time, as you definitely want to try and take advantage of the, a bit of ground game that you do have. And you got nice tanks. The 85s and Stug 3Gs are pretty cool, and they're pretty cool. Support, don't want to take too much. A-phase and B-phase supply truck, as per usual. I always recommend taking an A-phase supply truck in every division. It's very important. Commander in a 250/1, so you can relocate him. And then the KV2s. Always take the KV2s. They're real powerhouses. Anti-tank, Panzer 1-star veterancy. You pretty much take all the anti-tank apart from the RSO. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. We've got the Panzer Treks in A-phase, Pack V6 in A-phase, and then B-phase Marder Run and Pack 40 spam unvetted, as we just want numbers with these guys. Lots and lots of numbers. Anti-air, pretty abysmal. 20 mils in A-phase, and then 37mm in B-phase. Not a lot, but it's just enough. It's just enough. Artillery, mainly using the 105s. I prefer them over the 150s, just due to the availability difference that you can get with them. Neighbor Earthers in B-phase, Battery Furies in B-phase for a bit of extra, leader coverage, as well as the A-phase. I would say recon plane, but really more artillery observer. Especially, I'd always recommend, if you're going to bring this unit, bring it out in A-phase, as you only get 1 more extra in B-phase. And it's not really going to be that good in B or C phase, as the enemy usually have, an anti-aircraft net set up, or airplanes ready to go, and this thing will just get shot down. So you definitely want to bring it out early, so you can take advantage of the clear skies that you will have. And airplanes, I like taking a lot of them. In A-phase, we're getting Messerschmitt G6s and a card of Strafing Planes. Strafing Planes are pretty important to take in A-phase with this division, as they allow you to stress up more heavily armoured tanks, and they're very cost efficient, in all honesty, these DO217s. B-phase, I take the cheap Stukers. I take these over the DO217s, just due to the fact you get double the availability. The Stukers aren't great, they're not a huge payload, and they're slow, and they get shot down easily, but it's really just safety in numbers, as they're cheap, so you can get a lot of them, especially with this division income. At 180, you can get two per minute. So you just build up a force of 3 or 4 of them, fly them over the enemy lines. Maybe 1 or 2 will get stressed out, but the other 2 will be able to make it through. And you're really going to be using it just to knock out light targets such as anti-tank guns, special infantry squads, etc. I take the cluster bombers in B phase. I don't really find I need them all that much in A phase. Honestly, I find the DO217s are good enough to strafe any nasty heavy tanks that come my way. But just the extra one does help out quite a bit, I find, into the B phase cluster bomber variant. And then a B phase ME109. And defense, I haven't even done anything, just bunkers, but I mean, I recommend taking barbed wire, you know, some MG42s, some 50mm bunkers, maybe some trenches or Pack 37. So I don't really play breakthrough all that much, so yeah. I mean, it's really up to your discretion, honestly. But nonetheless, so the pros of this division. The nice thing is that you have pretty good air power. It's not the best air power, but you got the Strafing Planes early on, you got the Messerschmitts, you got the cluster bombers. Those are pretty damn nice to have on the field. STG infantry, I mean, STGs are always great. Great close range, great medium range. The Skijager are definitely what helps this division be good in the infantry game engagement, as for the most part they can knock out the majority of Russian infantry that dare come at you, which is cool. And also you have a pretty good ground attack game early on in the first 20 minutes or so. This isn't a tank division. You're not going to be, spamming in C phase with, 15 T-34-85s on a card. No. But for a light infantry division in A phase, with the KV-2s and the T-34-85s, and then backed up by some Stugs, and some decent anti-tank with, Panzer Gazelles, Marder runs, whatnot, you have some pretty nice anti-tank weaponry. Nice tanks to take advantage of. Really, it's the KV-2s. The KV-2s are the real heavy lifters, as they hit tank dies. They hit infantry dies. They hit anti-tank gun dies. It's just like Rotor Tanks or War Thunder. You shoot something instead. KV-2s are fantastic in that role. Now, the cons of this division. The big run of this run, lack of anti-air. You don't have much in terms of ground-based anti-air weaponry. So it's very important to keep them alive and not to get too cocky with your airplanes, especially if you don't have anti-air coverage set up, because you don't really want to be losing your fighter planes, as you want to try to maintain air superiority of this division, because that's really a big way that you're going to make an impact on the game, especially with cluster bombers. You're really going to be wanting to use those cluster bombers when fighting against T-34 spam that are becoming your reign. A lot of Russian divisions are pretty good at their T-34 spam, or Sherman spam, depending on which one you're fighting. But really, the biggest one with Skijager is, it's at a really crap division in C phase. This is definitely a division that you want to try to always do A phase, B phase rushes with. Like I said before, you either want to take Vanguard or Maverick income deployment types, as you don't really have that much in terms of C phase units. Most of your anti-tank and tanks are either A phase or B phase limited. You can spam Skijagers later on in C phase, or maybe artillery guns or some airplanes, but that's really it. You really want to try to focus on an A phase, B phase victory with this division. It's a little bit limited in that playstyle. And that does suck, because in team games, this is not a good team game division to play. 1v1s and 2v2s, it's alright, especially 1v1s, because it's a 1v1. But in 3v3s and 4v4s, just due to the nature, they usually go on for over 40 minutes. Usually an hour, to be entirely honest. You just run out of stuff, and then you lose, because you run out of stuff. And also air power is not as good as team games, because it's hard to get through the enemy AA net. You don't have the tank spam. This isn't a good division for team games, is what I'm trying to say. It's really the majority of A phase, B phase Rust divisions are just not good in team games overall. So just keep that in mind. And also, you don't have skis. I mean, look, if you're looking at this goddamn infantry here, hello, Skijager, I want to ski down mountains. I want a 20%, 50% speed bonus when going down hills. I want to be like the Finns in the Rinteror. Give me some skis, please. But anyway, enough begging for skis. Let's see how the Skijager division performs in a match. And we are back on a 1v1 on Bobor. And well, we have Big D showcasing Skijagers with Vanguard income, and Skijager playing as 9th Guard Cavalry with Vanguard income. Now, if we take a look at Big D's deck, there's honestly not really too much different about it. He takes some more infantry and support cards, and lacks a little bit in the air department, only actually taking a phase airplanes. But apart from that, nothing really too major to talk about. Some more heavily vetted infantry options, but that's really it. There's honestly not really too many ways you can really build or change up a Skijager division. Honestly, that you're pretty much going to be doing roughly the same thing most of the time, or a bit limited in skill set. But nonetheless, this is Bobble. This is a pretty tough map. Honestly, in a way, it's a pretty tough map because it's bridge choke point hell. There's quite a few bridges that you can cross, and you can also run infantry across the water, and there's some pretty good areas such as here, and like here where you can get infantry across. And it's gonna be pretty good infantry rise for Big D. This is a pretty close range map, so your stem skis are gonna be pretty useful. Same time for 9th Guard Cavalry. Those have some pretty good infantry as well, so that will prove to be a little bit difficult. But yeah, let's just see how this thing got going. He's going to be bringing a KV2 onto the left hand side, probably on top of this hill, which will be a rather smart move, as you can get some lovely overview from the hill and just shoot stuff. And shooting stuff is always really good, especially when you have a giant 152mm FU cannon. And 9th Guard. Kazaki. Those Kazakis are pretty scary, honestly, just due to how much you can get as 9th Guards. You've also got the SVT troops, which are also pretty decent. I mean, 9th Guard is definitely a bit more quantity over quality compared to Skijager infantry. But, yeah. We're going to be seeing Big D trying to rush across the river here, which is definitely the smart move, as you can pretty easily get across that bridge, easy peasy. And apart from that, he's just setting up defenses along all the other bridges. This is going to be his bridgehead assault, essentially. Also getting an anti-aircraft gun right off the bat. It's only a phase AA gun, so it's going to be pretty important making sure he's alive. And he's only going to be covering left-hand flank, so any Russian airplanes come out trying to chase him down, any Big D's airplanes need to try to bait them over left. But as you can see, the KV2, when I said it's slow, right, yes, it's pretty bloody slow. It's probably going to take another 2 minutes or so to get to the front line, to be entirely honest. And we're going to see Skijager going to be rushing across the river on the left-hand side. But Big D does have his Skijagers in position. Also Skijager Pioneers, but, flamethrower infantry pretty good. It's going to be a little bit tough. At least it gets the grenade off, and that's going to be a dead flamethrower squad. But there's still 2 more here. And you only have, 2 grenades with the Pioneer units. We're also going to be seeing some T-34s being brought left-hand side. It's probably a smart move, because Skijager's pushing with 4 Shermans. That's a lot of Shermans, as well as a T-34 Recon tank. So he's going to be rushing here, and there's nothing really much in terms of anti-tank. We got a Skijager with a Panzerfaust, but that's really it. And the KV2 is going to be brought up, and that could probably knock out a few of those tanks easy peasy. Actually, it has a pretty good chance, because it has higher armor compared to the AP values. Of course, there's still a chance that these tanks can penetrate, especially at closer range, but it's much better. And on the right-hand side, things are pretty stable. Bit of long-range fighting between Skijagers and Cossacks. And here comes the KV2, it's coming online. And yeah, as you see, his cannon's bloody amazing. Takes a while to reload, of course, because it's a big bloody gun, but he's going to get shot number 2 off. Oh, no he's not. No, he's not. At least he managed to turret stuck at T-34. And there's 1 KV2 is pretty much halted this entire push, as the Shermans can't really do anything about it. Like I said, those KV2s are really quite something. I mean, it really is just a worse ISU-152, to be entirely honest, but I don't know, just something about it. Just something about his bloody gun is pretty good, even though it only has 30% accuracy. I swear to God, it's a bit more accurate in they portray. I have no empirical evidence on the matter. It's just a gut feeling, you know. You're also going to be bringing up T-34-85, which is definitely going to shut down any other tanks that Skijager can bring up. T-34-85 is just... It's a fantastic tank, especially against some more lighter infantry division, such as the new cavalry, where I can only get Shermans, as the 85 really beats a Sherman in long-range engagements. And he's just buying more Shermans. And he's going to be bringing these Shermans on the left-hand side once again, really trying to push through his one area. Rest of the map is still pretty quiet, just Skijagers going at it at long range. We've got some Sturm Skis being brought in. These guys do have the 2-star veterancy, so they're going to be pretty scary, and especially in a town fight at close range. Like, you know, STGs are... And they're not something you want to be shot at. That's for damn sure. Pioneer going to get grenade off. Is he going to get the grenade off? No, he is not. He moved. And oof, going to lose one Sturmski, and is he going to lose the other one? Yes, he does. That is a bit of a shame. Rather expensive infantry to lose. Also in terms of activation points, as this 2-star really hinders the availability on the Definitely should have unloaded a little bit sooner, a little bit cocky with that maneuvering. Really, right now, Big D's main advantage is the tank game. Like, you have a pretty good tank game in A phase as Skijager. Just use the KV2 and 85 combo. I mean, of course, you're no tank division, but for a light infantry division, you know, it's a pretty nice unit. And he's also bringing up his Pioneer Führer, lovely leader. I mean, just, you know, all leaders should have sniper rifles. It makes a lot of sense. You want to be sitting back, might as well shoot him from 1 kilometer, because I'm fairly certain a Kar 98 could, with a scope, can hit something from 1 kilometer. You just got to have very steady hands. But yeah, see, at long range, our T-34 is having a pretty easy time. Our Shermans can barely penetrate its sloped armor. Well, at close range of Shermans, as you can see, even at close range, it's having a little bit of difficulty getting the penetration shot. Getting a lot of good criticals, rather, but not the kill. The KV2 is coming in. He shoots, and he scores. Slam dunk. Yeah, Shermans, they're not really that great in the anti-tank department anymore compared to ST-44, as you can see here. I mean, if this was ST-44, this would be a very dead T-34 at the moment, but on SD2. The KV2 is just a little bit out of line of sight from the Shermans. But T-34, he really doesn't care. Got some Stalinium, yeah, that's for damn sure. You're also seeing some artillery being brought in now, some 105 LEFs, and finally our first airplanes. These Steel-217s are going to be pretty damn good. I do want to note, this is replays from the previous patch of the game. The new patch that came out has nerfed strafing and also 20mm cannons. A bit, and also 9th Cavalry. They do, well, not in this replay, but they also have the 122mm artillery guns, which we're not going to see. This is from before that patch, and also no supply artillery trucks. Well, apart from that, there's not really too much difference from the current version of the game, especially if Skijager, they haven't really done anything to that division in the new patch. And if you're watching this in the future, in the far future, a year from now or so, well, hello future person, or people are still playing SD2. And hopefully you haven't changed too much, so this video will still be relevant. But see, the KV2, like I said, it's just absolute powerhouse of a unit. I mean, Dud did miss, yeah, but... and it misses again. Third time? There we go. And the nice thing is, it's due to how the AP cells that do bloody 12 damage, it doesn't matter. When you penetrate something, it dies because you do so much HP damage to it. Most tanks usually only have like 6 to 8 like invisible hit points. Oh yeah, no, good strafing run, yeah. Those clustered Shermans are not going to have a good time. It really does make me think about getting a supply truck up here to fix his T-34. But we're still on A phase. It's not really looking good. Point rise for Big D. Not having his flag early on definitely hurted him. Definitely hindered him in the early game. But he's starting to build out a bit of that tank force now, get another T-34, as well as a bunch of Pak 36s. Those Pak 36s are really not to be trifled with. They're very good AT guns, especially 2-star veterancy. Like how, you know, the whole historical meme, you know, the Germans called them the door knockers. Well, they knock on your door very fast that you end up, you know, punching a big hole through your wooden door. Your nice, immaculate Victorian wooden door. Like, what the hell? There's a big hole in my nice, immaculate wooden Victorian door. And the Pak 36 is just on the other side, and he keeps shooting. He's going to keep shooting through that door until there's no door left. It's probably going to take him 50 shots, but, I mean, you're just staring in amazement as he's just pounding and pounding your door away. You're like, who's at the door? Who's knocking? Who's knocking? It's the Pak 36. It just keeps on shooting and doing all those critical hits. I didn't know where I was going. Yeah, I was a journey for me as well for you viewers. Also, the Shermans are gonna have a bit of a journey again. Oh, this is gonna be pretty funny. They're gonna come over the ridge, and it's door knocking time. Oh, come on! Are they gonna actually shoot? They're facing the wrong way, I believe, so it took them a long time to get the guns on. Maybe not the best idea to have them all in the same spot, but the KV-2 is now out of HP shells, so he's going to have to just fire the big HEs, which is still pretty devastating for obvious reasons. I mean, that infantry squad is no longer in this realm of existence. And oh, he does have the supply truck up finally, so he's going to be able to fix that T-34. As he get him shooting, there we go. They revived the crew. You know, you just get to defibrillators out, charge them up together. Like 3 seconds, and he just shocked the dude. I mean, that's just what you do in Battlefield. I'm sure that's what they did in real life as well. But Big D is trying to make another bridgehead across his left-hand side here. It's a little bit tougher because there's a bit of open ground between him and the town. It can be hard to push up in there. If you do want to do a push here, I mean, at any point of this map, when you try to do a push, you want to use smoke. You definitely want to use smoke. We're seeing Big D bringing out his machine gun teams. He has quite a lot of those machine gun teams. 2 Skijager is a 1-star veteran. Did he have 1-star veteran? No, he did not have 1-star veterancy on him. Just non-vetted. Like those MG42s. Honestly, a pretty decent choice for Skijager, as you don't have like Schutzen or Panzer Grenadiers, aka, or you know, two machine gun teams, well, I'm trying to say infantry teams with 2 machine guns. Having a bit of extra long range firepower is pretty nice. He's trying to move up to the Ski Fusiliers, and Ned is gonna get pounded. Gear Packer has a pretty good choke point on his hill. So in the bottom half of it. And as you can see, as Big D tried to do a push through the middle, the Packers just bringing in all Cossack SVT troops, which are extremely cost efficient and pretty damn good, because can you really go wrong with SVTs? No, not really. Not really. Yo, he has managed to make a lovely breakthrough on the right hand side here. Just show some Sturmskis and Skijager Pioneers. Also pushing the right hand side. They see that the Pioneer Führer, he can really hold his own, as you can tell. Sniper rifle is pretty nice. Only having 10 shots here is a pretty big hindrance. Once again, the other guys in the squad are pretty selfish with the ammo. Yeah, we're just having pretty much fight over the bridge hedges. Bridge hedge. Which is pretty typical on this map. Speed things up a little bit. The main thing is Skijager with the Big D. Or Big D with the Skijager, I should really say, to be more actually correct. It's got a nice long-range firepower of all these machine gun teams just suppressing the Cossacks as they try to cross the open ground. He almost got killed here by that lag anti-tank plane. Once again, these Shermans are a real pain here on this southern slope of the hill because they have pretty good firing line across anything that tries to cross this river. A little bit tempted, or a little bit scared, I'd say, to move up the KV to try to kill them. For obvious reasons, it's definitely something you just want an artillery array. Seeing rocket runs on the MG teams, not really doing too much damage. Yeah, just get used to the 105s. 105s are lovely artillery guns. Also some Run 50s as well. Also lovely artillery guns. You see he's got pretty good radio coverage on the left-hand side thanks to his Pioneer Führers. And the right-hand side is not looking all that well. He's lost some of his infantry. His Skijager are being forced to retreat, but he's getting some more reinforcements. And Skijager is starting to get a bit of air power out now. He's got a 2-star lag-free in the skies. And Big D is bringing out another anti-aircraft piece. Once again, with Skijager, you don't really have that much in terms of anti-air. You have to rely a bit more on your fighter planes to kill the enemy fighter planes. The DO-217s, I think he's trying to go for the Shermans, but the problem is, because they're on the southern slope of this hill, it's really hard to do a strafing run on them. The hill kind of blocks the line of sight. Once you can knock out his 2 Shermans, you can just pretty much camp the crest of this ridge, and this is a fantastic point on the map which just allows you to shoot pretty much everywhere else. Don't think he has line of sight. Oh, no, he doesn't have line of sight on the Sherman, so he's just flying around willy-nilly and getting hit by the anti-air. Fortunately, Big D's anti-air is getting some big kills, or big suppression, I should really say, forcing those lag freeze back. He's going to try and chase with the G6. Like Skijager has a 37mm of his own, so that's not really going to work. Let's try and do some blind strafing run to the 217. It's not really going to work. I'd really say you'd probably just want to try to use the tanks at this point to knock out these Shermans, as this is really hindering this entire push here, these 2 bloody Shermans. It's dropping artillery on the Cossacks, and Gib does have 120mm mortars, which are obviously pretty damn good. Even with the price nerf on them, I'd still say 120mm mortars are very much a good unit to have. Fortunately for Big D, there's not much anti-air on this side of the map. Doesn't manage to kill 1 aeroplane. Gib has more. 1 lag free just gets obliterated by the 7.2s. Yeah, so does lose a DO-217. That's not the end of the road, honestly. I mean, just long Big D keeps his fighter planes up and alive, it's really the most important thing. Left hand side here, the Cossacks have managed to push a bit. Just a bit, but they've pretty much been suppressed by the tanks and other fire support units. And this Skijager is going to be pushing through to capture it. Or to finish off those Cossacks, I should really say. More Skis being brought out. Really, Skis are fantastic. Not as good as Sturmschützen, unfortunately. 13 STGs kind of beat out 9. But 9 STGs is still 9 STGs in the end of the day. This Pak 36, he's gonna be knocking on his T-34. So I loudly knock on the desk to prove my point. I really just like 2-star Pak 36s. Show those critical hits you can get in those tanks, it's amazing. Oh, did he lose his anti-aircraft piece? I believe he did. And that's yep, that's a pretty big L here. Because now he only has 2 anti-aircraft pieces left, potentially. I think he only can buy 1 more out at his time. And he really cannot be afford to lose those anti-aircraft pieces. But as you see, Big D is on the hill now, and his KV-2 is just going to go to town on everything at long range. Big juicy gun. As you see, just lots of damage. At longer range, of course, it's going to be pretty inaccurate. And you see all the 120mm mortars being dropped down. But he is going to kill the anti-aircraft piece, which is a pretty big kill. T-34-85 is definitely going to be more in a match for the 76s as they try to be brought to tank with the KV-2. Like I said, you have pretty good tank play early on with Skijager. Of course, once you're into the later game now, it kind of whimpers out a bit, as you only get 4 of those T-34-85s and 2 of those KV-2s. You also get Stugs, to be fair, which are also pretty decent, especially against 76 T-34s. But it's definitely, once you get into the later stages, you just want to try to keep those tanks alive. Another rocket run coming into the left side here. But see, really, it's the entire left side, the real MVP for Big D, I really have to say, is this KV-2. Once again, rocket run, not enough to stress out the KV, and the plane does go down. And Sturmski's just going to sturm up all the Kazakis. That's the nice thing about STG squads is, you know, the Russians have SMG squads and all of that, but you have a 200-meter engagement distance between you and the PPSHs for getting close. And in those 200 meters, you can really decimate anything. This Sherman's not going to have a good time, as he's pretty much stuck on the wrong side of the river now. Big D just holding on to that big hill. And really, I'm guessing it's going to come down to the MG42 team capping his Sherman. And see, oh, he's dropping in naval rafts trying to hit the Sherman, but he hits his own troops instead. And there we go, captures the Sherman, and this is going to be a lovely bridgehead on the left-hand side, and he's going to have great cover due to the tank support that he has. And it's also a very good bridgehead because you can just rush up here and move along the right, and you're in the town. And once you're in the town with those Sturmskis, you're pretty much good to go. Right hand side here, once again, Sturmskis at close range. Pretty deadly stuff. And Gib Hackett is bringing in more Shermans. He needs to gib all those Shermans. He really needs to focus more on anti-tank. Try and knock out these 2 big tanks here. The Shermans can't do anything at long range against these two buggers. There's a supply truck right next to the KV-2 to keep those AP shells nice and loaded. Got some T-34 42s being brought in as well to support the town over here. But as you see now, Big D's got the point advantage, 14-10. Really just shoot a cap in the left-hand side over here. He has lost the ground in this middle right area. Well, no, he's got a good defensive point here. You know, his SMG squad. Oh, his SMG squad can get in 100 meters pretty easily. He's got the building covering, but the guys on the left, they just get decimated in the open ground. Yeah, he's got tank support though, fortunately for him. That's going to help out a bit. Of course, tanks aren't that great against entrenched infantry. But it's better than not having tank fire support. Of course, these pioneers aren't close enough to get their grenades off. Or use the SMGs. It's a real problem with Skijager pioneers. It's like the... I was going to say... the ultimate Shiki of the machine gun, but yeah, only in the campaign. That when you do like an attack move with these guys, you just stop and only use a machine gun, and that's not really ideal. You want to be using all MP40s, to be entirely honest. You know, and as well as grenades. I mean, if you do take Skijager Pioneers, I honestly really recommend most of the time just turning off the machine gun. If you're attacking, at least on a defense like that, yeah, you do wanna keep it on for obvious reasons. But if you're attacking through a forest or whatnot, you definitely want to just turn it off. You know, get an extra 20 meters or so you can chuck in the nades and also use the SMGs. The KV-2 does finally go down. Fortunately, he can get another. You know, he's not going to yet. But yeah, one KV-2 has definitely done quite a bit of damage. He still has the T-30-45s here. As you can see, yeah, he doesn't care about being shot by Shermans. And all the Skijaegers, they can get that AT grenade off. As the Shermans are kind of being a little bit ballsy here, getting in so close. He's going to move up the other infantry squad to get 18 age off as well. And that's a bunch of dead Shermans, easy peasy like. Now he has the +2 advantage, so he is getting rather quick victory in 7 minutes or so. Yeah, it's just meant to break the bridgehead over here to the left. Really, most of Big D's advantage this match has really just been the tank play. As I keep saying, you have some pretty nice tanks in this division. Of course, he is having the tank play advantage because he's playing against another light infantry division, Cossacks. Or cavalry division, I guess to be entirely honest. If this was a tank division, for example, this would probably not be the case. Especially if it's the IS-2 division or T-34 spam division, second guards. You definitely have a much harder time in the tank play department. That's where you want to be taking cluster bombers and using those PAC-40s and whatnot. But in this case, T-30-45s are really more than enough just against some silly Shermans. See, at close range, Skis do pretty well, unless, you know, they get grenaded by Saparis. So barely holding to the bridgehead over here to shoot these two Skis. Jaegers. And the Sherman's going to get a little bit too close. This man's a knockout run. Pull him back to a defensive position. Here he's going to be surrounded. Even in the Panda tracks, a little bit really nilly here. He's going to lose both of them. They've got Messerschmitt coming in. They're going to be doing strafing runs. Strafing runs shouldn't be as ridiculous anymore as we're seeing right now. I mean, these guys are pretty ridiculous, but they're meant to be. They have a lot of cannons for strafing. It's intended. That's going to be enough to save the Sermskis at least. The Pioneer Fuhrer getting in with the action with the snipers. It's really nice having a lady unit with a sniper. They're going to expose themselves and they are getting eaten up, but they are a rather big squad too. They're pretty much a fully functional infantry squad. Not like a 4-man hand grenadier Fuhrer where you just keep them back and just do the whole, you know, just use them for leadership. Oh no, the Skijaegers, they lead from the front. They like getting in nitty gritty. Also, right hand side are completely neglected. But as you can see, he finally did manage a breakthrough. And for Sturmskis against Saparis, I mean, the nice thing is running in a building, they're getting, you know, they rush up in open ground, and in open ground you do a lot of damage. And funnily enough, there's actually 2 buildings I never noticed just before. Sorry, don't believe he has actually any line of sight, because you need to move up to the next factory building to actually shoot at those Saparis before they get in close and use our Saparis. Not really Saparis, but the satchel charges. I'll make them Saparis. See, yeah, STGs. Great. T-34 leader coming in, and I believe that's his last T-30-45. Maybe he can get one more still. But he's going to make another breakthrough on the bridgehead to the left with artillery. Clearing out that Sapari squad, and he's also been doing pretty good with the artillery this entire time. I mean, he has been using corrected shot, because you got out of the 105s from 150s, that's why I like using them a lot. Gib Packer, not so much. He hasn't reloaded any of his mortars, which is a bit of an issue. And now Big D's is penetrating right through the middle here. And he's going to be getting a rather major victory in a short amount of time. Managing to outlast the Cossack division. And once again, really just use the ground game. Because you have that nice ground game against other infantry divisions. Tank divisions, your results may vary. Also air power too. It doesn't really have much air power to really exploit. Once again, you really should always say cluster bombers, I say. Always say cluster bombers with Skijager. But as you can see, pretty big victory here. Pretty big victory. And if you look at the kills, or I should say losses, in this case, yeah, the KV2 can be really good in the right situation. Knocking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks. 8 tanks. Albeit these aren't really heavy tanks. They can't, you know, really pose much of a threat to the KV2 as we saw. But still, you know, Shermans and T-34-76, it's a rather common thing you're going to be fighting against a lot of the time. Against most Soviet divisions, and also knocking out some infantry as well. See T-34-85's also doing pretty damn good. Anti-air also helping out, but anti-air should be a little bit nerfed in the current patch, so by the time you're watching this video. And see Sturmskis are pretty cool. They're pretty damn good. But yeah, that's really Skijager. They're not the best division, to be entirely honest. They're very niche in the fact of being a light infantry division with decent-ish A-phase ground game, with alright infantry. If you want, I'd say 28th Jaeger is the better division overall compared to Skijager, but I find Skijager more fun personally to play just due to, you know, the KV2s, T-34-85s. You got some fun meme units, the Pioneer Fuhrers with the sniper rifle. They got a bit more character, I find, compared to like 28, for example. But yeah, that is the first Skijager division, and that's going to end off its Steel Division divisional overview. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy. Bye bye.